Hello and welcome to Pacific Northwest Prepper Channel. I'd like to start off by correcting something I said in the previous video. I mentioned making your own MREs, and it's important to know that you must be very careful when doing so. I haven't had the time to look it up myself, but I'm sure there are videos on how to make your own MRE. I do remember watching a video that showed how a flameless ration heater can heat water up enough to cook a freeze-dried meal. I imagine you'd have to wait a bit longer, but if you're having to ration water in your emergency, then this is a serious option you can consider. I also want to thank everyone for 100 plus views on my last video. I was honestly shocked by that. Now, let's get down to business. The first item on our list is a modification that I do sometimes. I like to cut different lengths of medical tape and put them on release paper that I've cut to match in size. This helps if you're having to apply dressing to yourself with one hand. You can even prepare it like how Band-Aids are, where one strip of the release paper is overlapping the other. I wouldn't do it to the whole roll, and I would actually keep the extra remaining roll in your Medkit. But this modification also applies to any other components of your medkits that can be safely removed from their packaging, such as emergency blankets. If it doesn't need to stay dry or sterile, it's okay to get rid of its packaging. This is also how you can prepare your Band-Aids. I take them out of their outer paper, leaving the release paper on, and then I put them in a little Ziploc bag. It's one less step to apply first aid. I saw in someone's bug-out bag that they loosen their tourniquet in case it needs to be applied one-handed. So also kind of the same idea. Now our third item is simply a carpenter pencil, but the ones with the ruler printed on them. It's good to have a notebook in your medkit or in your bag so that you can take notes about symptoms and vitals and such. There are also occasions where you might need to measure something, for instance, measuring a wound to gauge how big of a gauze pad you need to use. If it's not your style, then consider putting in a grease pen, which is most commonly used to write on your patient's body, and they can write on a lot of other surfaces too. The next one is also a writing implement, but it's a very specific kind. If you're not familiar, excuse me, if you're not familiar with the U.S. government pens, they're made by Skillcraft, which is an American-based company that only hires blind and deaf people. Their specific design also allows them to be used to perform an emergency tracheotomy. Be sure to look up how to do this, but if someone's airway is blocked, this could save their life. It's also prudent to note that the ink cartridge works just like the ones in the Fisher Space pens, even claiming that they can write a mile. If this video gets to 25 likes, I'll do a bonus video where I'll show you how to make a toy cannon out of this pen. Now this next item I mentioned in the last video, but I feel it's worth mentioning again, especially if you didn't watch the last one. Most, and I mean like 99.999% of you have anti-diarrheal pills, but only once did I see someone have anti-nausea pills. If you've ever been sick with nasty food poisoning, then you know it can come out of both ends. Or if you accidentally ate a poisonous plant, mistaking it for another, then you won't be able to keep anything down. Severe vomiting will kill you much faster than diarrhea. Our next item, excuse me again, our next item is a two-parter. One of the things I see lacking in most medkits is a way to flush or irrigate wounds, especially for scrapes. An easy one is to put one of these emergency drinking water pouches in the kit. You can use a pin or the point of a knife to poke a few holes into the pouch, which will allow you to spray water. Another way is an item I mentioned in my last video, and this is a travel bidet. They allow you to spray water from a water bottle, which is very useful even if you don't use it as a bidet. It's good for washing hands and spraying off your shoes or a tarp, but also for irrigating a wound. Now, next on the list is an item I sometimes see in bug-out bags, but not usually in a med kit. Electrolyte powder, emergency, or even packets of salt are good to have in your Medkit for dehydration and general immune efficiency. Salt packets can also be used to make a saline solution for wound irrigation. Most saline solutions are just very lightly salted water, and it's not enough that it would burn your wound. Number 8 is simply cotton ear swabs. Most Medkits have antibiotic ointments, but sometimes you need an ear swab to help apply it gently to a wound. Plus, earwax buildup can cause problems. And the next thing is one thing I almost never see in anyone's Medkit is a thermometer. I wouldn't suggest putting a glass one in there or even the battery-operated ones. I would go with these disposable strips, which are very light and compact. Fever is often one of the first symptoms of a lot of ailments. And last but not least are tampons. Yes, I said tampons, even maxi pads. Tampons were originally designed for bullet hole wounds and is simply compressed cotton. Both are designed to soak up blood, and if you have women in your party, well, they just might need some feminine hygiene. I like this brand because they're pushing for that zero waste kind of, idea, and it's all organic cotton and it's unscented, which is important. But that wraps up our list. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking, subscribing, and or commenting. I actually wrote a script for this one, so you're not enticed to make a drinking game out of, I honestly don't say that often, but anyways, thanks for watching, and be safe out there.